In this video, we're actually going to be discussing about Castlevania Symphony of the Night and how its architecture displays the psychology of the human mind. Actually, just using architecture as psychology, and why the game is actually as popular as it is because of not just the textures but also the backgrounds that it uses is really good and really insane. And we're gonna go over how that is used for psychology and player attention in this video.
Alright. So this is a way of how you can use architecture as psychology. So for the first castle, you have the externalized human mind. So you can see how this portrays a bit of anxiety, aggression, confusion, stress, and impulsivity. And especially with the darkness you could see around there in the corridors, right? But I must say, when you go here, you could see the amount of uncertainty you face when you first enter this place after the garden area. And you could see that deep beneath the castle, you have the chambers, which Alucard goes in and he starts going venturing and doing stuff. And there's waterfalls nearby. And this is probably what Dracula's, this is probably where he sits, and there's a courtyard, there's a judge. It looks legit like a courtroom, how they used to have back in the day when there was Rome and there was actual kings and queens. But I think you could see that. And yeah, this is probably just whether you can make the environment louder or quieter would be the question. So a lot of this has stuff such as paranoia, fear, intention, obsession, and aggression, but this is literally a map of the Castlevania Symphony of the Night, the inverted castle. I was just able to find it online, and you could kind of see the amount of different stuff that's there. So you got the floating metacombs here. So I think there's an entrance right here. The entrance is somewhere here. And then this is probably where you have to go. Or probably just the middle. And then you have gallery, and then you have forbidden, reverse clock tower, reverse keep. This is literally an entire map of how it looks. The caverns is right here. I was thinking the caverns would be in the bottom, but no sir, it's right here, which is really odd, But the game, it's a fictional game, They're gonna have it's a reverse castle, so the caverns are just gonna be wherever they want to put it. But realistically, I think it makes sense if you have a cavern underground. Now we got, second thing we have here is cognitive load through level design. And over here we could see the branching paths in the hidden rooms, how things are, and just the complexity that's there when Dracula is trying to enter from room to room and trying to go to certain places, right? And you could also see that there is a room right here where there's a bat right there, and there's a sword that's sticking on the ground, and there's just a gate there, and you can kind of see the amount of, the atmosphere makes it look insanely damaging. The mental effect, it just looks super disoriented. It looks hard. And then Alucard is asking himself questions, such as, where am I? What's safe? Did I already go here? What's behind that wall? And these are just maps I found once again online. It's literally a copy of whatever is there. But you could kind of see how it looked. This is the normal castle. Okay, let me zoom in here. Actually, that doesn't work. My bad. So the normal castle, you have legit. You still have the clock tower in the center room is still there, but everything just flips upside down. Flip, flip. So I have no idea how it flips, but at least I'm glad I get to see the cavern at the bottom, because obviously that's realistic and it makes sense. Somewhere around here, you see it, there's a caverns right here. But yeah, it just flips and yeah, that's the badass part of the game. And of course, you have different levels and hearts and enemies just all over the place. Now, you go. So this has a lot of. This is just brilliant. Because then we meet one of the. I forgot her name, bro. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure she's thinking about Richter. Belmont and Alucard is just standing here, and you know, and basically he's just questioning everything, and he's getting mentally exhausted. It's literally like she's the freaking hospital. She's the freaking lady who's working in the hospital, and he's the patient. And he's asking, and he's the visitor who's asking if his patient is doing fine, which is Richter. It's literally, this is the doctor right here. This is the patient, and this is the person who's coming to check on the patient, or maybe the one who's paying their loans, bro. Now, as we move on to the next one, so this is the part where we're discussing about the inverted castle. So you know, you could see the way you play the game now is completely different. This is literally how the cavern looks like. I think Alucard is trying to fly, and it just the way you play it is just completely different. It breaks everything. You can't predict what's going on, but you can look at the fucking map and be like, oh yeah, this just switched the other way down. It was originally like this, and it just flipped the other way down. Sorry for my language there, but I think you get the point. Now, I have no idea, bro. It's so weird, like the way it's fundamentally set up. I think these are some of the levels that you see in it. I don't see the caverns here, but you could see how the assets look like, the environment, right? And it's very unpredictable, because you can't have this anywhere else. If it was any other environment, if it was your house, it would be pretty predictable, because you know exactly what it looks like. But since a lot of the things in this and we're at the castle of Dracula just looks the same, it's hard to predict what it even is, and it's huge. And this is probably one of the best looking levels in the entire Symphony of the Night, where you have the glowing assets here, where there's the pane glass windows and tiles that are popping up and showing up from place to place, and you can see the sword that's just flying down there. But this is a beautiful image of what it looks like. And well, you could so you could see that this is the way it's sort of set up. This is literally just exactly what I showed you with the map. So we have the tombs down here, and then you flip it, and it's the other way up. So you can see the underground caverns is now somewhere here. Actually, now it just gets called reverse caverns and a reverse entrance, which is super odd. But yeah, that's just how it works, man. It's hard to even predict. At least they give you a map for what it looks like so that you know what to do. But if you're just doing it based on spatial understanding of what you previously played, you can't do it. It's hard. Unless you're like you actually map stuff out. And yeah, you could sort of see that if you reverse the castle and you're starting if you're in the top and now you're starting from the bottom, you'd rely a lot on bat mode or flying up, because now you have to. That's the only way you go up from one platform to the other, because now it's literally reversed. So now we're gonna go over the dark side of the mind through basically architecture that looks super Gothic. And this is literally what I showed you previously. This is what it looks like. A lot of spiritual tension, because you could see that it has the Christ symbol there, which is pretty interesting. Because that's how I think they hanged up Dracula's wife. If you watch the animated series, yeah, that's what happens in like the beginning episodes. It's not a spoiler, by the way. It's not that bad. But this is just part of the story, if you watched it. And this is how amazing it looks. If you've played Castlevania 2 Cards of Shadow, you're just walking through the castle. It was absolute badassery. You can see how high the ceilings are. The large stones that are up across the gateway. And you can see that there's just moonlight just entering through them, and there's the misty air. Looks absolutely badass. This is literally what really Gothic architecture is so good for game design, bro. It's an absolute masterpiece. I'm pretty sure they also do this in Elden Ring, by the way. And and this is also an example of Gothic architecture. I don't know if you've watched, but there's something that's called a He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. There'd be a guy named Skeletor that's sitting there watching
when I've had a more pleasant day.
like he's on his chair. He has like a skull brain in the background, and I don't say skull brain, but it has that villainous vibe to it. It's absolutely beautiful and it's amazing. And I'm really glad they did it with a 2D game like Castlevania, which is really nice. And many 2D platformers, I mean, I know you have spikes also in the Mario games, but in many games they have spikes as stuff that's harmful, especially in Castle, like in any level. But I would say this in general, this is beautiful, man. It has never been portrayed like this. They actually have it bent going in, and they have the designs. They look like it looks as if these platforms have scales, man. It's really good. I genuinely think it's beautiful. And then this is just some badass artwork that they have for Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which I think is really nice. Alright, so the last one, I mean, we got, not one of them, maybe one of the last ones. I don't know if this is the last one. We got, yeah, this is the last one. It's save rooms, Neuroarchitecture Relief. So this is basically the resting areas where Alucard rests through the game. Not necessarily the best. You know, I would say it's really nicely designed. In most save rooms, like in Kingdom Hearts 3, you go to a save room, and Sora's you're just hovering over like some asset that's created, and it's like, oh, it's shiny. You can just sit down and just save there. But in this game, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, there's actually a feature for you to save, and it makes it look as realistic as possible. And I think this is something that modern games are missing. GTA San Andreas, you go into a room and save. But it didn't feel ever as real as this. You can see him resting there. And there's very minimal detail, no enemies. It's absolute silence. You know, in these save rooms, they don't play any music, which speaks out a lot. And you could sort of see how the layout looks it looks very real for a save room. And for this in particular, it looks very symmetric. I mean, yeah, I'm just talking about the shape of the building architecture right here. Absolutely symmetric. And you're asking why this matters? Bro, this is a game, bro. This matters a lot. Okay? This is a save room that does not ever feel this real, especially for this kind of game. They've really done it. Konami has done a wonderful job in trying to explain and trying to show how this works. And you know, there's no music, there's no nothing that's being played in the background, and scratch that. Okay, so and then you meet the bookkeeper. I forgot about this guy, bro. I don't know. I think you exchange items with him and shit. But yeah, you could sort of see that it's just the aesthetic is so. There's a different sort of music that plays in here, but the aesthetic is so pleasing, bro. It's just, I absolutely love it. The way it is, it works perfectly, man. And then you have, Alucard just standing outside. I think this is a save room. Correct me if I'm wrong. It does not look like a save room, bro. Never mind.
Alright. That was the video for Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I wouldn't say Symphony of the Night, but how Gothic architecture is in games such as Castlevania, and the dark side of how it influences certain thinking. But I'll be frank with you, man. The architecture for the Castlevania games are really amazing. They really are pretty good. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I have more videos like this coming soon. The architecture of the different architecture that you see in certain video games. I'll definitely be checking that out, especially with game and level design. But for now, I'll see you later.